packages, and in particular a Dutch package, the Nictis package, which contains all our Dutch profiles here in the Netherlands, in either the Dutch-based profiles. This morning I had a tutorial explaining how we created those Dutch profiles and shedding some light on our governance and what those, where you can find those profiles. And the session after that was also a Let's Build session, which was about our testing setup and our qualification environment. We got some hands-on experience with that. But now we're going to zoom into FHIR packages. So to start off, a very brief introduction about myself. I'm Ardon Toonstra. I'm a FHIR consultant at FHIR, mostly specialized in creating FHIR profiles, and as such I work on an assignment for Nictis, where I'm involved in creating the Dutch national profiles for, amongst other, METMEI, which is the Dutch PHR program. So before we get hands-on with the exercises about packages, I want to have a short recap of what FHIR packages actually are, why we need them, and how they look like in FHIR. A lot of these slides are duplicated from the talk by Martijn and Graham about packages. This was yesterday, but I put them in perspective to our Dutch package. So what are packages actually? Well, it's a way to version a whole set of profiles at one place. It allows you to do your version management at the package level instead of each individual profile. And FHIR actually already did this, or in some sort of way, because you have different FHIR versions, while all the canonical URLs of the resources inside of it didn't change. So actually the version of those resources was given by the release of FHIR, or the version of FHIR. So you can already see like that comparison that FHIR itself used some sort of package mechanism, and now they formalized that with FHIR NPM packages. So why do we need packages? Well, they help in maintaining your versions, maintaining like the proper version of your profiles. You don't have to do that at every individual resource, and it tries to prevent a versioning hell when you need to upgrade or bump up a version number of a profile once a referenced profile has changed. They also help a lot in distributing a whole set of profiles, because normally you're not talking about one profile, you're talking about a whole ecosystem of profiles. So a package can actually help in distributing that the profiles that belongs to, for example, a use case or another grouping mechanism. And this can all be done in an automated way. Lastly, they also help in providing a clear context on what those profiles are about. So the package name already gives a lot of detail on what kind of profiles you could expect. So how do they look like in FHIR? Well, about the name, a package should have a unique name, and well, the FHIR NPM spec is being finalized at the moment, and in that spec it says that the name should at least contain an author, or the authoring organization, or a region. That's a start. And it should have a functional scope of the purpose of a package. So for example, you have HL7 FHIR in the US for the scope key cure. Well, if we zoom in on the content of a package, we see that it is a tarball package with a folder named package inside of it, which include a package manifest, which can be found at the package.json. The package.json is a JSON file that contains all the information about the package and its use. Next to it, this is pretty new to the FHIR NPM spec is that it should also include an index file, which lists all the individual files in the package, which can be used by a client or server to see which files are in it instead of opening all the individual files. And besides the conformance resources that go into the folder package, you can also add example instances or other documentations. But the main purpose is distributing FHIR conformance resources. The screenshot here is our NICTIS FHIR-NL package with the package JSON. So we're in the package folder, and you will see that all the conformance resources are JSON files, which is also preferred, or even, I'm not sure if it's mandatory. So this is the content of a package. Well, the versioning is very important, because if you do it in one place, you need to do it good. So the semver versioning is used to actually version the package, which works with the major, minor, and patch labels as seen on the screen right. And you could also add annotation to it saying that the version is a beta or some other label to it. For NICTIS, these are all the versions, all the package versions we released so far. So we started with 1.0, and now we're at 1.0, 1.3.1. Well, I talked about the manifest that should be in the package, should be contained in the package. Here you see the manifest as it is in JSON. Also with the example of our NICTIS package, and it says, well, it contains the name, some metadata about the title and description, where it's used for, and it can have dependencies. A package can have can depend on other published packages, and it is I'm not sure, it's not required. You have to at least include a FHIR core package in your dependencies. So for a NICTIS package, we depend on FHIR STU3. Here you see a representation on simplifier, where we depend on the simplifier core STU3 resources. And it is expected from a client that if it should consume a package, it would also resolve and install all the dependencies recursively. It's also allowed to create a meta package, which only has dependencies. If you want to use or distribute multiple different packages, you can create a meta package with only dependencies on it. So this was the very brief recap of FHIR packages, and now we're actually going to do the Let's Build session. I have 4 exercises, which we can go one by one. The exercise is available on the DevDays website. If you move to Amsterdam and to the exercise folder, there are 2 PDFs on with the same subject, so we need to find the right one. I will show it to you. So if you go to the devdays.com website, go to the Amsterdam event. Here you'll find the exercise bar or menu, and we need, there are 2 Let's Build exercises with package, but it is I believe it's the second one. Double check. Yeah. So it's the second one, as you can see here on the screen. It's this one. So I'll give you all a minute to get to the PDF. And then the first exercise is about validating an example against a package version. And we're going to do this with simplifier. So before you are able to do this, you need to have a simplifier account and be logged in. So if you haven't have a simplifier account already, you can go to simplifier.net and sign up for a free account. Or you should give your name, email, and create a password. And you will get a verification email. And afterwards you have your account. I think that should also take a minute. Does everyone already has a simplifier account? Everyone? That's a good sign. Okay, great. Was also everyone, did everyone get to this exercise document? Who didn't? Oh, great. Then we can start with the exercise. So here you find a link to an example resource which we host in our Nictus project on Simplifier. I'll click on it. You will find an NL-Core careplan where you can see the XML or JSON version. And we're going to validate this XML against our first version of our package. So you can copy this careplan. You can do this by either copying it from here or go to the download button and say copy to clipboard. Then the public validator the validator of Simplifier can be found by going to the main page and locating the validator button in the middle of the page, here down below. And this will bring you to the validator. Well, you need to be logged in to use this feature. So I will log in. And this will bring you to this page. It's also accessible by navigating to simplifier.net/validate. Once you're here, you can enter in the conformance resource, the example, just copy paste it in. And we can select a package to validate it against. So press the green select button and search for our Nictus package, which will come up quite easily. It's the top one if you type in Nictus, and on the right side you've got a button that allows you to show all its versions. And we're going to validate it against the first version we made public. And once we've done that, we can press validate. And I know this profile, the NL-Core careplan, isn't in this package, so I expect that the validation will fail, which it does, because the validator says I can't resolve the NL-Core careplan, which is in the meta-append profile of the example. And this is because this profile isn't in this package version. So how far did everyone get to this? Yeah. Now, this profile, we added this profile later, I think in the 1.1 version or 1.2, but we're going to do this again, but we're going to validate against the latest version. And then I would expect that the validator can validate something because it has the NL-Core patient. So we need to copy the example in it again. We're going to find our package. Now you can just keep the package because then it will take the latest, or you can select the version. And we will validate it again. And now it says validation success, but the validator also complains that it cannot resolve all of our references, which is reasonable because all our IDs in that example are rubbish, or they don't resolve. So this is expected. And the actual structure of the careplan conforms to NL-Core careplan and also to the FHIR spec. So, did we follow along? Yeah? Are there any questions? Yeah, so here we've got a tab with all the issues, and we also have an XML tab that shows your XML and also the validation output inside of the XML. So if you hover above one of the highlighted, I will zoom in a bit, stuff, you can actually see the validation output in context of the XML. So this first exercise was meant to get a feel of that you can actually validate against a certain version of a package. Very plain. So we're going to move on to the next, if everyone's along, and that's the next three exercises are they belong to each other. So in the second exercise, we're going to create your own derived profile on one of the profiles in our package. We're going to use Forge for that. So we're going to download the package, or we're going to consume the package with Forge, create a derived profile, made some adjustments to the profile, like 2 tiny profiling things, and then we're going to upload it to your own project on Simplifier, and eventually we're going to create a package in Simplifier, and we're going to validate the example against your own package. So that's the whole 3 steps that we're going to do now. And we start by creating a profile with Forge. So to do that, you need to have Forge installed. So does everyone here has Forge? Does anyone does not have Forge? Okay. So I think that can take like a minute or two. You can go to Simplifier. Now go to Downloads, locate the Forge icon, click on it. Here you can type in your organization, and we're using Forge STU3 because our package is also in STU3. And here you can download it, and it will install pretty much itself. So I will, in the meantime, open up Forge as well. Well, to do this, you would need to have a profiling folder or a working directory. So you could start by creating a directory we're going to use for this exercise. I will call it my profiling folder, demo. I just put it on my desktop. So here I've opened Forge, and the first thing to do is let Forge know which folder it can use as a working directory. So you're going to press open the profile folder, and we're going to navigate to the folder I just created. I will select it. Normally I'll always include subfolders as well, but for now it doesn't really matter because it's just one folder. And this will initialize Forge to be your authoring environment. So we've got an empty profiling folder. What we're going to do is we're going to consume our NICTIS package. So we're going to go to the Dependencies tab, click on it, and we're going to search Simplifier for our NICTIS package. So here I will type in NICTIS again, and I type in, or I will hit the search button, and I see we found one package, which is the STU3 zip 2017 package, and we can select a version we want to install in Forge. We're going for the latest version, so the 1.3.1, and we click on Add, and this will download and install the package to our working directory. So if we now move to the project, we will see all resources, all profiles that are in that package, which are a lot. So I would suggest to switch the view from list to folders. Helps a bit. Is everyone getting along? Do we have Forge open? What is the status? Mort? Are you joining, or where are you at? Cool. Yeah? Yeah, the latest. If I'm correct, let me have a look at my own exercise. Double check. Yeah. Okay. We want the latest. So now we're gonna create a derived profile on our NL Core patient. So once you install the dependency, move to the project view again, and locate our NL Core patient. Well, you can search for it or filter for it, but I think you could just scroll down till you see all the NL Cores, and there you will have the NL Core patient. I will increase my thing a bit. From the NL Core patient, you can do a right mouse click, and you have the option to create a new derived profile. We'll do that. And you will first be required to enter some metadata about your new profile. So here you can give it your own name. So my NL Core name, NL Core. And more importantly is the canonical URL. That, well, what Forge gave was actually quite good, but I will say. So here you give a name and a canonical URL as an identifier for your profile. You can also use the things that simplifier of that Forge gave to you. Then click on OK. Okay. And now we're in Forge as the real profile altering environment. In the middle you see a tree structure, the element tree. And you can see that because we made a derived profile, Forge also include all the elements that were specified in the NL Core patient profile. So for patient, in the NL Core patient, we specified a national patient identifier called base N. And you already get that in your derived profile. Just like all the extensions, it will include all the extensions and all other elements defined in the base profile. So this is where we're gonna alter, or we're gonna change some stuff. So the exercise states that we're wanting to make the name mandatory. So we're gonna set the name, the cardinality of name to 1-on-1, and we don't want addresses in our use case, so we're gonna skip the address. These are the two adjustments we're gonna make, so we can see that the validator actually does something with these constraints. So we hit the name element, and on the right side, the element properties pops up. And these are actually all the constraints you can add to this element. On the top, you see the cardinality, and we want to make name mandatory, so we put it on 1-1, and we also say that our patient profile should only have one name. Well, for address, we say our system doesn't use any addresses, so we will just make this redundant by setting the cardinality to 0-0. And then we're gonna save this profile in your profiling folder. And you've just created your own derived profile on the NL Core patient. So we're heading to exercise 3, where we're gonna create a package with this new profile inside of it. So does everyone create his or hers profile? Yeah, that's great. So now we're going to simplifier, and you should have a project to create a package. And with the free plan, everyone is allowed to have one project on Simplifier. So the first thing would be, if you don't have one, to create a project. And that goes by going to your portal, go to the Projects tab, and click the Create button, where you can create your project on Simplifier. Here you can give your project a name. I'll just call it test, because there are already a lot of test projects in Simplifier. Test. Package. Set the FHIR version to STU3. The scope will be test, so we can filter on it, well, your nationality, and we make a public project. So once we have done this, we've created a project, and now we need to get our just created profile to this project, and there are actually lots of ways to do that. We could have saved from Forge to your project on Simplifier, or you can use the API, but for now I think the most easiest is to just upload using the user interface of Simplifier. So we go to upload file, and we will select our created profile. Go to your profiling folder and select your derived profile. I'm going to upload it. Yeah, that's we can do that as well. So if you want to upload it from Forge, you need to go to your profile you want to upload, go to File, and say publish to simplifier.net. But now, this is going to be the interesting part, if I remember my password. Yeah, I need to do my password and stuff, but normally when you're here, you can log into your Simplifier account, and once you logged in, you will get to see all your projects. You can select the project where you want to upload to, and then Forge will save it to Simplifier. And it actually makes use when it does so with the API. So I could also open up Postman and send my structure definition to my project. I think that would, but then I also need to log in.
Where could I create a project?
Sorry? So you need to go to your portal, so hit your icon, your gravatar, go to portal. Yeah. So I will continue. So now we have a project that contains my one profile. If I click on it, I will see the search results. Here we have my derived NL core patient, and if I click on it, Simplifier will show the rendering of your profile. So now we're, well, it's actually showing the hybrid view right now. We've got different ways of showing your profile. If you press on the hybrid view, it will show you the elements you adjusted yourself as black, while all the other elements you didn't touch are grayed out. So here you can see on a very nice overview that we made name mandatory while we skipped address. So now we're gonna create a project, a package. Let me have a look at our exercise. So before we do that, before we're going to create a package, we want to create our package dependencies first. So if you go to your project on the main level, you see on the right side the dependencies tab and the package tab. At the dependencies, we're going to set our dependencies. So here we're going to add dependencies, and by default, because we have a STU3 project, you will get the dependency on our free core right now. So this is the actual official HL7 FHIR core package, which is really nice. And we're going to add the dependency to our Nictus project as well. So we're going to click the Manage button, and we're going to search for our Nictus package. And we're going to just do select the latest. And then don't forget to click the green add button and save it. So now the package we're going to create will have the dependencies to FHIR core and to Nictus. We're going to the package tab to create our package. And here we're going to need to give it a name that is compliant to the FHIR NPM spec, which we showed in the beginning in the presentation. And it should be something like the author followed by the scope or purpose of the package. So I would include something with test in it so people know it's a test package. And it's very good to remember that packages are forever. So once you created a package, you cannot delete it anymore because a whole ecosystem will be dependent on your packages. So you can unlist your package, but it will remain available because other packages may depend on it. So just give it a decent name is the advice here. Yeah. So here we can create, well, what shall I do? There's always a hard part. I'll type my test package, and we need to give it a version. Yeah. So let's give it a 0.0.1 version on the author. Well, you can also give some release notes with it. My first package release or something. We've got some other options here as well. You can give your package a description, which is based on Markdown, I think now. And the content, you've got some options to actually define how your package should look like. So by default, it will convert all your resources in your project to JSON, as is expected by the FHIR NPM spec. And you've got some other options, but for this exercise, we will just leave this as default. So now I will create my package, which is done pretty fast because it only contains one package. And now we see that we have a 0.01 package. Now for the final part, the final exercise, we're going to validate. So, yeah?
One question, because I think you added the derived profile to this package, right?
Yeah.
Is simplifier able to derive the dependency for the Nix package automatically from the fact that the profile starts from this package?
I think we have to manage that in the dependencies section because the validator won't know which exact package version you want to derive your profile on based on only the canonical URL. So actually at the package level you need to set your dependencies, which we did. But the only thing what I was thinking about was what is maybe a bit strange is that we now have a dependency on the STU core and also on the Nictus package. Well, maybe only a dependency on the Nictus package would have been enough because based on the Nictus package we would also get the STU free. Yeah. Yeah, but it doesn't really matter, right? So I could remove this one. So here you can also see which package references are direct, which are indirect. So this Nictus package has still the simplifier core dependencies, while there are dependencies from this package. I didn't directly put them here. So we only got 5 minutes, so we're going to go to the grand finale of this this exercise, and that's we're going to validate against our own package by the same method as we did with the first exercise, by going to the validator, the main validator of simplifier, which is accessible to simplifier.net/validate. Let's have a look at the example. Okay, so we're going to do this with the patient example, because we created a patient example. Open it up. We're gonna copy the patient, but now we need to make sure that the meta profile is the same as your derived profile, because we want to validate it against your own derived profile. So you need to add that. So I'm just gonna copy it from Forge, but you can also copy it from the simplifier. I will change the value at the meta in profile to the new one. And do we need to do other stuff? No. Exactly. So now we're gonna validate it against our made package. So again, press the select button and search for your package. Well, I started with AT, so I found my own package here. I can see if it is indeed the 0.0.1 package. Select it and double check if I copied the right one. Yes, this is my profile, conformance canonical URL. Oh, and we're gonna validate. See what's expected, what we get back. So the validator says it's invalid, because in the example, for example, we have a patient.address, which should be present, which is present but shouldn't be present, because in the profile we said we wouldn't want address. Other things that aren't correct are that we don't have a different narrative text, and we are missing an identifier.value, which is specified if we're gonna by the NO core patient profile, that if you're gonna use a BSN, it should also have a value. And the other one was the address that is present. So we can make this profile valid if we want to by, for example, removing the address. And it's interesting because I'm actually giving a value over here. But for now, I will remove the whole identifier and our text element. So now very easily removed all our errors. We're gonna try it again. Go to the validator. Select your package and validate. And now we see a success. So did everyone try to validate against his package? Did someone get it so far? No? Anyone? Did someone run into any problems? Because let's see at what time this session due. So I think we're now also at the end of this Let's Build session. So I could just demonstrate the last part. So I think this is the end for the Let's Build session, at least. While I'm here, I can remain here to answer any questions about this, because I think we have lunch right now. Do we? No? But there's a break. Is there a break? No, also, no. So in 10 minutes the next session starts, but I'm happy to answer any questions there are. So, yeah. Woo! Yes. Well,
You can use standard install to download.
I think there are, because if you go to, for example, your package, you will see some commands. Let's have the look at the nictus. Go to packages. Have a look here. You got some install instructions, and you also have a npm way on installing the package. So I believe they're also accessible by npm request.
So they won't go onto the public repository, but
Yeah,
as an NPM.
exactly. Yeah, so they are available on the package server of simplifier, but you can also use the normal npm stuff to.
So we recommend using the FHIR tooling to install packages, but you can use NPM.
Any other questions?